Hi, I'm reading Grief Opened the Door to Heaven by Kim Droptiny, read by Kim Droptiny. Chapter 5, Unexpected Help. Maybe I can't stop the downpour, but I will always join you for a walk in the rain. Unknown. It was very hard to leave Gabe's body there in the hospital. How I thank the Lord for sending friends to be with us who took us to dinner and then drove us to the hotel where we were then staying. We were in that hotel before Gabe's overdose. We had committed to helping our friends in Berlin with a team from Texas who were in Berlin for a week of evangelism. They had paid for our stay in the hotel, even though Brianna and I were not able to help much with the team. Tilo had been with the team when Gabe passed. About 2 months before Gabe's overdose, he had gotten a great job working as an English teacher at a primary school in Berlin. One day, as I was walking out of the hospital after a visit with Gabe, I was met by his boss. She was so kind and told me that they had decided to give him that month's salary. We were also thankful to learn that he had gotten his medical insurance approved through that job, and all costs were paid. During that same time, I also received an unexpected Facebook message from a family who had employed Gabe prior to the job at the school to be their nanny. The family was understandably shocked that Gabe overdosed on heroin and invited Brianna, Tilo, and I to their house for dinner. It was nice to get to meet the two beautiful children who had really loved Gabe and were sad that they couldn't see him anymore. We had a wonderful evening getting to know those little girls while trying to share Jesus' love with the parents. The girls gave me a sweet picture that the older child had drawn, showing Gabe in the hospital room surrounded by our love. We told them Gabe's story of drug abuse and how we had thought the heroin addiction gone forever. They were so kind and listened without any judgment. I also talked about my longing to be able to read Gabe's last messages on Facebook to satisfy my curiosity as to whether he had intended to take his own life or not. The husband immediately told me that I could go to his computer company and see what his technicians could do. Then, the day after Gabe passed, he called and told me to come the next day. How well I remember that next morning after Gabe passed, taking a shower and feeling as if I was in a fog or dream. Nothing seemed real. When Brianna and Tilo knocked at my door to go visit Marcos's office, I became disoriented and couldn't remember what our plans were for that day. Tilo gently offered, "We don't have to go today. We can stay and rest." But I knew it would be better to be busy and managed to pull myself together. Gabe's former employee, Marcus, was one of the kindest men I've ever met. He took us to a lounge where he offered us coffee and treated us with great respect. When his top technical guy was free, we went to his office space, and within 15 minutes, he was able to get into Gabe's laptop. He then began to work on getting into his Facebook account, which he said might be difficult. He tried several ways, and then he asked me, "Do you recognize this email address?" Astonished, I told him that it was mine. He said, "Oh, that's great. That means he chose your email address as his backup. All you have to do is enter your password and we are in." It was an old email address of mine, and thankfully I remembered the password. Within seconds, we had access. I had no idea that Gabe had used my email for his backup. I felt in my heart that the Spirit of the Lord had gone ahead for us in that matter, and I knew in my spirit that Gabe was there with us, rejoicing. Afterwards, we went to the home of our good friends, Jeff and Barb, the ones who had fetched us from the hospital when Gabe passed. They are fellow American missionaries in Berlin and were so loving to us. We had no internet, so they offered the use of their home that day so we could use their Wi-Fi, and they offered use of their phone, which had free calls to the United States. We were so grateful. It was there at Jeff and Barb's place that we told the world, via Gabe's Facebook page, that he had passed from this life. And I also had time to talk to my family. Brianna and Tilo started looking for a company to cremate his body. We learned that German law would not allow us to transport his ashes to the United States, and so we also had to find a company that would do that for us. It felt dishonoring to research companies for cremation a mere day after Gabe's passing, but the hospital was already asking what to do with his body. It was one of those things that had to be done. I appreciated that Brianna and Tila were able to forge ahead despite our desire to just lay down and cry. End of chapter 5. God bless you. Thank you for listening.